Hello there, and welcome to Shropshire Ghost Tales. This episode will discuss the history and the ghost tales of the old St. Mary's Church, which is situated on the outskirts of the town of Broseley in Shropshire, England. The Red Church, or St. Mary's Church, was completed in 1767 to provide a place of worship for migrants joining an expanding community during the Industrial Revolution. The church was built to help out the mother church in the town, the old St. Leonard's Church, which was just too small. The church's construction was proposed in 1759 by Mary Brown, the daughter of Ralph Brown of Cawley and Elizabeth Bentle. Mary Brown had been good friends with Elizabeth Crompton, a wealthy landowner from Stone in Staffordshire, who also owned some land in Broseley. On her death, Elizabeth left Mary some of the land, including the land where the church was going to be built. In 1759, Mary Brown gave the money for the church to be built, but passed away in 1761 before the church had been finished, and therefore the project was passed on to her sister-in-law and her brother Francis Blythe in Mary's will. It is thought that Francis Blythe took over the project and wanted the church to be a family memorial site for the Blythe family, and therefore was prepared to make the church as grand as possible. Regarding the ghost tales of the site, it is said that the spirit of Mary Brown pushed down the walls of the church because she wanted the church to be built on an east-west alignment. However, the builders began building the church on the north-south alignment, which was not in her wishes, so each night her spirit dismantled the builder's work. One logical explanation for the walls of the church falling was that maybe the clay mining at the site may have made the ground unstable, and therefore caused the building work to subside. However, this could not be true, as the clay mining underneath the site did not begin until 100 years later. I interviewed Graham Hollocks, who is the secretary of the Friends of the Red Church organisation. He said that he had heard stories and lots of genuine sightings of the ghost and of the lady in grey, but he had not seen it himself yet. Graham thought that the ghost story might have been made up by Francis Blythe, so that he could build the church how he wanted, and he used the story to scare people away from what he was doing. Another explanation that Graham proposed was that maybe people from the old St. Leonard's Church sabotaged the walls of the Red Church because they were jealous of how spectacular the Red Church was compared to the existing church. What do you think? Please leave your comments in the comments section below on YouTube. After 7 years of building work, St. Mary's Church was completed in 1767. It was built of red brick, hence its name, the Red Church, and the inside was furnished in handcrafted oak. The church had a capacity of seating 288 people and served the community over 100 years. However, the graveyard became full in 1885 and was closed for any new graves. Over 1,200 people are buried at the Red Church graveyard, including some successful business people, including Alexander II, which was the nephew of Alexander Brodie I, who invented the Brodie stove, a gigantic oven manufactured for the Royal Navy ships. It is also where two victims from the Coalport ferry disaster are buried, whose names are William and Elizabeth Beard. The Coalport ferry disaster occurred in the year 1799, when workers from the Coalport China Works were returning home across the River Severn on a ferry after a day's work. For some reason, the ferry capsized and the workers perished in the freezing cold river in the winter. In 1832, the disease cholera arrived in Broseley, where it had spread from India through Europe and then to the UK. Cholera was spread by contaminated water. However, at the time, doctors did not understand how it was spreading. Some said it was from bad smells or just by making eye contact with the infected. According to records, many people lost their lives to cholera in Broseley, where some of the victims were treated at Calcutt's house, which is now a B&B in Jackfield. After a request from the Broseley Board of Health, it was decided that a mass grave was to be made on a section of land near the main cemetery, as they said it was not right to have the victims buried in the Red Church Cemetery. Records suggest that there are 40 victims buried at the site, but the figure could be many more. Today, the site is on private farmland and has a headstone with the name T. Crump engraved onto it. In 1845, the mother church, St. Leonard's Church, was replaced by the now current All Saints Church. The Red Church suffered significant subsidence damage and became unsafe. A new St. Mary's Church was built in Jackfield in 1862. The Red Church was used less and less and was eventually closed in the 1930s. Some of the furnishings were moved to the new church and the bell was sold off. The bell now stands at a National Trust site in Cambridgeshire. After vandalism to the church and the churchyard in the 1950s, possibly even grave robbing tombs in the hope of finding treasure, the church was demolished as the roof was missing and the site was being used as a farmyard. However, the contractors which undertook the demolition work did significant damage to the graves, despite being told by the bishop to protect the graves from damage. The site fell in disrepair as the trees and the foliage took over the site. However, the Red Church had been an impressive site and the place of many baptisms and burials, but never had any marriages. This was because, according to the Ardwick Marriage Act of 1753, marriages were only allowed at the main mother church and not at any subsidiary church. Currently, the Friends of the Red Church Group are a team of volunteers that are tidying up the churchyard, collecting its history and stories of the people who are buried at the site, as well as showing light to the great memories that local people have on the Red Church. The Friends of the Red Church Group are on Facebook and also have a website, which is www.broseley.org.uk/Red Church. I would like to give Graham a big thank you for sharing some of the history of the Red Church with me, and I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. Please remember to give us some support by either commenting on the podcast or by subscribing to us on YouTube. I will leave a link to the YouTube channel in the description below. Thanks again for listening, and remember to stay around for the next podcast, which will be dropped in March.